Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there. So you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt times 2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we're doing one of the mini episodes, like I've promised. In this episode, I'm going to do Below Deck first. We're going to do that one first, and then following will be Married at First Sight, where I'm at this point. So let's do Below Deck. Let's do it quickly, y'all. Now, I know I talked about this episode before, or this season, I should say, before. I don't even remember what I talked about on that season. I think I probably talked a little bit about Kizzi, talked about the really stupid, fresh-ass deckies they had initially. But at this point, I still have more I need to talk about with Kizzi. And just a little bit about Nathan as well. I'll bring in a little bit of Kathy in there too with Max, but then we start slow and work our way to the juicy stuff. So I'll do Kathy and obviously Max. I really, really like Kathy. I think she is, I wasn't too sure about her initially, but I'm like, oh no, she's fun. She's cool. I like her. And I really felt for her with her stepdad passing away. And that really hitting. And also just really kudos to her for sticking it out, because I think anyone in other situations would be like, fuck this, I'm out kind of situation. So really kudos to her on that. And the thing with Max, with that whole situation though, listen, do I think the whole situation with Nathan and Gail, because again, as I predicted, Gail does come onto the boat for reasons we'll talk about in a second, but the whole situation with Nathan and Gail, yes. Do I think that was right call for Nathan to basically get everybody off the boat so he could talk to Gail on his own? No, I didn't like it. But for Max to be like, I'm so mad, like I should be on the boat with her and comforting her, but maybe she doesn't want that right now. She just found out, like, maybe you will get back onto the boat. She knows you're not there. She knows that she's a big girl. And she's not going to make a big deal over the fact that you're not immediately able to go comfort her. She's going to be fine. Calm your tits. Because my girl is really keeping her shit together right now. And And then because I just kind of got to the most recent episode as well. But when they're having the conversation, or he's trying to have a conversation with her about where do we go from here? And her being more concerned. Listen, do not mess with a girl and her chicken McNuggets, y'all. My God, she's over here being like, "Where are my chicken nuggets? Why are there chicken nuggets on my? What the fuck? I don't want a Big Mac. I don't want French fries. I want nuggets." It's so funny. And Maxwell's like, I'm over here pouring my heart out, being like, I love you, and I want to be with you, and ooh, ooh. Sorry. Like, he's really pouring his heart out to her, being like, I like you, and I want to see where this goes. You know what I mean? And she's over here being like, "Nugget!" He's like, I'm pouring my heart out, and she's more concerned about her chicken nuggets. And I'm done. I'm not gonna do this. I don't want to be with her anymore because all she's caring about is her chicken nuggets. Boy, she is drunk. You know what I mean? She is also trying to avoid the conversation, let's be real. But and she really wanted her chicken nuggets. Aisha did a delivery right after they had dinner for McDonald's because she's drunk as well. And I guess maybe there was no more ramen packets. I don't know. But she really wanted her chicken nuggets. She really did. And these dodo birds are just throwing the food onto the boat like freaking imbeciles. You gotta clean that up later. Like, what the hell? I'd be mad too. You don't waste perfectly good chicken McNuggets. What is wrong with you? Where did you grow up? Jesus. Anyways, with a pack of wolves, apparently. So anyway, that's the little bit that I was going to talk about with Kathy and Max at this point. But the Nathan and Gail stuff. Now listen, we all know the spoilers, right? If you don't know the spoilers, go ahead. 10 seconds starting now. Obviously, we know that Nathan and Gail are together. They have their baby. They are happy. So this is really just kind of seeing how we got to that point, right? So I love seeing it. And I love that she came on this boat. Like, I knew she was going to come on this boat. I said it. I'm like, Gail coming back. But I just didn't realize it was only going to be for one charter because V's like, I'm sick. And, which I totally get it. I'm not making fun of her. I'm just saying that I'm sick. It's my birthday. I can cry if I want to because my boyfriend died because he drowned. And I'm going to need a minute or two or three. So, they said, get off the boat and we'll bring Gail on for a one charter while you recover from being sick and from your boyfriend's passing on your birthday. God damn, it's a horrible day. Anyways, so yeah, I loved seeing her, Gail. I love seeing Nathan be vulnerable. And I definitely understand from Gail's perspective, like, how do I trust that you really want this? Because last time you dippity doo dawed out of my life because you couldn't handle the pressure. So, like, how can I trust you? I totally understand her with that. Um, so yeah, love to see it. But we'll see where that goes a little bit later, if we see any more. Okay, now, y'all, the reason I'm here. Let's talk about Kizzi, Joe, and V. Now, as mentioned, I'm sure, in my previous episode of my little roundup of my below deck at that point, I fucking hate Kizzi. Listen, I'm not saying you need to be a girl's girl. I'm not. I'm totally not. But this person is so delulu. It is ridiculous. I hate her so much. I really do. She doesn't give a fuck about anybody else. And honestly, I'm thinking, like, watching her, I'm like, girl, you need therapy. Because, like, if you're seriously this hung up on men and this just need for attention from the opposite sex to feel any form of validation means you need therapy for probably the rest of your life. Yeah. Because my Lord in heaven, she is something else. So, in case you do not watch Below Deck and you want to be a part of the drama, please take a listen to what I'm about to say. Here we go. So, as I've mentioned to you before, obviously with Gail coming onto this boat, that V had to come off of the boat because she wasn't feeling well. Sandy's orders. So she comes off the boat and she's obviously not there. Sorry. Kizzi had mentioned why do I keep saying Gail's name? Kizzi had mentioned when Joe came onto the boat to us, the audience, that she thought that he was hot, one of the hottest guys there. I don't get it, but one of the hottest guys there, right? And the minute that V is off of this boat, Kizzi and Joe take this opportunity to be flirty and touchy and all of that shit. And then when the cameras go away and the other people go to bed, we only hear Kizzi say to Joe at a point, because they have mounted cameras on the boat, right? Out of the line of said camera, we hear Kizzi say to Joe, "Don't kiss me because I can't lie." But whoever did the kissing, whoever initiated the kiss, we will never know. But we then hear the kissing. So Joe's like, "I gotta tell her I feel so bad. I'm not cut out for this shit. I am so sorry. She's gonna hate me. And her boyfriend just died, his anniversary of his death. I'm such a shit person." And then we have Kizzy being like, "I feel so bad because, like, I can't lie very well. And I know she's probably going to think, like, the minute she comes off the boat, I just kiss him." Like really, truly does not giving a fuck. Not when V does come back onto the boat, they do like a little thing for her birthday. They do a little thing to celebrate. Is it Bond? I think it's Bond. To celebrate his passing, or the day that he passed, and just recognizing him. And Joe, oh my God. Before all of that too, we guys remembered, before she did come back on the boat, he's calling his mom, being like, "Mom, I've like fucked up. I'm like such a shit person. Like I kissed somebody else, and like I'm gonna have to tell her the truth, but like I don't want to hurt her heart." Like he's crying, y'all, crying. And then when they do this little ceremony, my guy takes off and goes to the bathroom. He's like, like, shut the fuck up. Like really and truly. He's just crying his eyes out, like seriously. And Aisha asked Joe for one thing and said, "Please, please, please, please wait to tell her until after you do the little thing, for her birthday and everything. Like, can we let her have this moment, right?" And Joe's like, "Yeah, I can do that." But right after all of that, he tells her, "So, while you were gone, me and Kizzy were a little flirty. I kissed her." And at first, V is like, "Okay, well, I mean, we're not together, so it's okay. Like, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it." Then, when they go out, Joe is all over Kizzy, Kizzy's all over him, and just being very flirty with each other, which makes V very uncomfortable. It makes her look onto this and is like, "Am I missing something?" So she does talk to other people, one of them definitely being Aisha, but I can't remember who else. I think she talked to Kathy as well. And she's like, "Listen, is there something I'm missing with this whole situation with the Joe and Kizzi kiss? And Aisha especially, this lays it out, and she's like, listen, they were flirting a lot that night. That kiss did not just come out of a whoops. That came out of, well, flirting. So that obviously changes V's views on things. And she's just like, she goes to Joe and she's like, listen, I've heard some stuff about the kiss that night. And that maybe it really wasn't an accident. And he's like, well, people would vouch for me. And she's like, yeah, well, funny. Those are the same people who are not vouching for you. And he's like, oh, okay. And she's like, listen, honestly, I feel like maybe you're just not my person. You're not it. And this isn't gonna work. I think I'm good. Cool beans? Cool beans. And that's basically how it ends with that. And you can tell that his ego is bruised. And we'll talk about that in a second because of this part. When V goes to talk to Kizzi, I think the next day, to kind of just be like, listen, I just want some information. And Kizzi, with her whole damn chest, is just like, I mean, we kissed, and I feel bad for how it makes you feel, but like, I don't have any regrets. Even if you really, truly don't have any regrets, bitch, you could have kept that shit to yourself. You did not need to tell him, or tell her, sorry. And she just has absolutely no class. No class. She's a very classless person, really, because it's like, okay. No one's saying you couldn't have kissed Joe. You guys are single. It's fine. Even she says that. But for you to really sit there in front of her face and say, I don't regret kissing him because because I just don't, it's really messed up. When she says she regrets hurting her, well, bitch, that hurt her. So are you really sorry you hurt her? Or are you just, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's basically how that basically, I'm trying to think, that conversation turned out. But again, like as we see with this most recent episode, him and Kizzi are flirting in front of V. They don't give a fuck about the fact that she's here, seeing all of this. Nathan is getting involved and literally saying to Joe, like, listen, can you stop? Like, first of all, you are the lead deckhand. V is part of our department. Y'all need to get along and keep it cordial at the very least. Like he's thinking about his team, but he's also thinking of V as a person. She doesn't deserve this. Now, the thing is V, honey, people were trying to tell you, join it, and you still went for it. I would never, never, but you did. So she still doesn't deserve all of that because things were happening. The same things seem to be going in a correct direction with them until she left the boat. And as soon as she's out of eyeshot, you do what the fuck you want to do. And so does Kizzi. You both fucking suck and deserve each other. Really and truly. I hate them. Like, Joe's never been my favorite person. Not really. But this whole association with Kizzi has made me think way worse of him. Anyway, I think I've covered the gist of things at this point. It does look like we're almost done this season. We do have the final charter coming up at the time of my recording of this. So yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that is it for me, guys. That's it for this episode, Below Deck Med. Yeah, that's it for me. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at Reality Tea times 2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Reality times 2 pod, I believe. You can email me at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/reality tea times 2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you could tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality tea times 2, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered. So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro, but the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, we do things a little differently. You can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.